Right folks, here we go straight into things. The sun might not be shining in Glasgow just yet, but you can feel the buzz. Celtic have been back at Lennoxtown for a few days now, and in just 2 days, they'll be back in action on the pitch. That first interview of the season with Brendan Rodgers landed exclusively on Celtic TV. And let me tell you, there was a lot to dig into, from transfers to squad dynamics and fresh tactics. So let's dive in. Brendan settled back into Lennoxtown with his returning squad, and he's clearly had a tidy summer. A bit of golf, a touch of cycling. Nothing wild, but enough to recharge the batteries, yet even on holiday he never stops ticking through what comes next for this team. Last season's finish, especially the Scottish Cup final, and that dip in the second half, clearly left a mark. You could sense that he's been hard at work behind the scenes shaping things. Whisper it, back toward a more Rodgers-esque style of play, now onto new faces. Kieran Tierney's name brings a smile to Rodgers' face. They even met over the summer to catch up. And Tierney's delighted to be home. Important thing here, this isn't a nostalgic signing in his twilight years. He's arrived in what should be his prime, and Brendan made a point of emphasizing that. That's big. We're talking a full and still at the top of his game Tierney stepping back into the hoops. Exciting stuff. Then there's Benjamin Negrin. Rodgers revealed he'd been nudged by Michael Essien. Yep, that Essien linked from Chelsea days, who's now working at Negrin's former club FC Nordirland. Essien's involvement kinda explains that African scouting connection, with the Right to Dream Academy there. Rodgers has clearly seen plenty of Negrin and was impressed, highlighting his flexibility in 8, who can drift wide, or a winger who can drift inside, possibly hinting at a return to the 4,231 shape. With Negrin in that number 10-ish role behind the striker, that's a shift worth watching. Callum McGregor's heard about it, but nothing earth-shattering there. As for Callum, Callum Osman, Rodgers stressed he'll be in first-team contention through preseason. So expect either a breakout for him here, or perhaps the arrangement of a loan move. We'll see where he lands. What's clear though is he'll be thoroughly assessed before any decisions are made. Of course, Rodgers didn't shy away from addressing Daniel Cummings' departure. He's now off to West Ham after signing yesterday. Rodgers pointed out that exit and Osman's arrival are nearly mirror situations. You've got Osman training already spotted in the Lennoxtown footage, while Negrin and Tierney will join in shortly. Next up, the transfer strategy. Interviewer Jerry McCulloch put it to Rodgers, with 4 signings already on board by the 2nd of July and a 5th incoming, you're off to a fast start. Do we expect more? Rodgers confirmed that speed's the plan. Freshness is key. While the squad doesn't need a major overhaul, he reckons adding a few new starters keeps competition fierce, motivation high, and complacency at bay. That second half fade from last campaign is freshly vivid in everyone's mind. And the Champions League qualifiers await. There's no room for slow starts or stale performances. Fresh blood, Tierney, Negrin, possibly a forward, and another addition could reinvigorate the nucleus. Rodgers emphasized you don't need wholesale change, just enough to unsettle seats, sharpen focus, and spark competitive edge. And in Scottish football, without constant evolution, motivation can dip. We all witnessed that slide after pulling away in the league. Complacency crept in. With new faces, the squad is less likely to snooze through the season and more likely to hit the ground running. Rodgers was also candid about captain Greg Taylor's exit. Confirmed as a free agent on the 1st of July, he's now plying his trade in the Premier League. With West Ham, Celtic rolled out the full Scottish fanfare, bagpipes, brave face, war paint. But we know Greg's no mere caricature. He took to Instagram with a heartfelt message reflecting on 6 glorious years to 100 and more games, 11 trophies. Though by my count, bear with me, a dozen, and life-changing moments. Marriage, fatherhood, walking out at Celtic Park with his daughter in tow. Rodgers underscored how much Taylor meant to the club, and it's easy to see why. He gave everything in the hoops. Taylor's post resonates deeply. He wrote that, "Every time I pulled on the shirt I gave it everything, and that those memories, especially the Trophilus, are feelings no words can describe." He closed by thanking staff, teammates, and fans, saying he now watches on from afar, but always as a Celt. And the banter came full circle when Chris Boyd cheekily replied back, supporting the famous now, to which Greg fired back, "Not a chance. World's most successful team for me." Classic stuff. Another name on the rumor mill is Yang Hyunjin. According to Sky Sports, Anthony Joseph, Legia Warsaw have poked around, plus a few English and European clubs are checking in. Yang's got 3 years left on his deal after contributing 6 goals and 6 assists last season. Rodgers, while fessing up to that Scottish Cup final wobble, said the last 6 months showed a player worth keeping. Yang's not nailed down first-team starter, especially with new arrivals like Negrin and the promise of forward options, but if he's on form, he could chip in with a double-digit goal tally by season's end, even if the rumors turn into a sale. Tomorrow Rodgers didn't sound distraught. He'd weigh the offer, consider where the squad's at, and react accordingly. But parting with a player who can drive 10 to 12 goals in the right conditions, probably not the first line to slot Raw towards. And then there's the upcoming friendly with Newcastle United. Seems Toon have been granted extra tickets, taking their allocation around 10,000. Doesn't look like we'll sell out the park, but a strong Saturday lunchtime muster could still draw in about 30,000 of the green and white faithful. A tidy crowd to test these new signings, gauge match sharpness, and build a bit of momentum under Brendan's direction. So that's where we stand. Lennox down buzzing, returning names like Tierney fit and ready, exciting newcomers like Negrin offering flexibility, Osman on the cusp, and Taylor's departure marking the end of an era. Plus Yang's situation remains fluid, and the early season friendly with Newcastle could be one of the first big test marks for this refreshed squad. All of which tells me one thing: this could be the start of a slightly sharper, more decisively curated Brendan Rodgers era. Keep your eyes peeled and your Celtic scarves ready. And now, with all that brewing beneath the surface, there's this growing feeling that Brendan Rodgers isn't just easing back into the Celtic job. No, there's a real sense of intent this time, from the way he's talking, the body language, even the way the club's moving in the market. It feels different. There's clarity, direction, and maybe even a little bit of unfinished business in his eyes. Because let's be honest, the second half of last season might have ended in a title win, but no one walked away fully satisfied. Rodgers least of all. When he talks about freshness, he's not just throwing buzzwords around. He means it. Bringing in for players before July's even halfway gone and a fifth just waiting to be announced. That's not normal for Celtic in recent windows. That's planning. That's urgency. And when you combine that with his comments about evolution and avoiding staleness, it paints a picture Brendan doesn't want to simply run it back with the same group and hope for better. He wants a squad that's hungry, dynamic, and willing to fight for every inch. No passengers, no comfort zones. He hinted that without freshness, even the best squads get sluggish. The energy drops, motivation slips, especially in a league where, if you're 10 points clear by Christmas, the risk is players just going through the motions. That's not a dig at anyone, it's just human nature. But it's also why you need new faces, new personalities, and players fighting to prove themselves. Rodgers wants to shake the tree a bit, get players out of their comfort zones and back into a competitive mindset. That ties into why he seems so thrilled about Tierney. Here's a guy who isn't just quality, but also Celtic through and through. The hunger's still there. He's not coming home to coast. He's coming to lead, to defend the badge, and to lift standards. Rodgers talked about getting Tierney in his peak years, and that's huge. You don't often get a player of his caliber returning home with plenty still to give. That's the kind of addition that doesn't just improve the team on the pitch. It lifts the whole dressing room. Then there's Negrin, younger, maybe less proven, but already sparking interest. That kind of positional flexibility Rodgers mentioned, being able to play central and wide, gives the manager so many more options. Whether it's reverting to a 3 behind the striker or rotating players mid-game, Rodgers now has tactical levers to pull that maybe weren't available before. The modern game demands that versatility. You can't just line up the same 11 every week and expect to dominate, especially in Europe. Speaking of Europe, Rodgers didn't say it outright, but the implication was there. They're building toward making a proper go at it this time. The Champions League last season showed how steep the climb is. Celtic were exposed at times, but with a few more experienced players, some hungry up-and-comers, and a little tactical evolution, there's reason to believe this side could surprise a few people on the continent. That's the ambition. Dominate domestically, yes, but also start earning respect in Europe again. You get the feeling Rodgers hasn't forgotten the scrutiny he got when results dipped last time round. There was pressure, there were questions, and while lifting the league title answered most of them, it didn't erase the doubts completely. That's probably why he's pushing hard now. He wants to hit the ground running, build momentum early, and make sure no one's asking those questions again come October. Then there's the man himself, Callum McGregor, still the heartbeat of this team. Rodgers didn't need to say much, but the trust is obvious. McGregor's still the anchor, still the standard setter, but even he needs help. Last season at times he looked like he was carrying too much. Too many games, too many minutes, not enough support. That's another reason why this summer matters so much. If Rodgers can bring in players who lessen that load, physically and mentally, we might see McGregor get back to his absolute best. The younger guys are worth keeping an eye on too. Rodgers mentioned Callum Osman and the vibe is cautiously optimistic. It's a bit of a wild card situation. Maybe he explodes in preseason and forces his way into the plans, or maybe he needs time, possibly even a loan. Either way, he's on the radar now, and that tells you something. Celtic are paying attention to their pipeline again. They're not just buying talent. They're grooming it from within. That's a healthy sign. As for the exits, losing someone like Greg Taylor hits different. He was never the flashiest, but he was reliable, consistent, and deeply committed. His farewell message hit all the right notes: gratitude, nostalgia, and pride. 11 trophies, maybe 12 depending on how you count, is nothing short of incredible, and you can tell it meant everything to him. From walking out with his daughter to battling on rainy nights in Perth, he lived every bit of the Celtic dream. Now he gets to try his hand down south, and nobody begrudges him that. But his boots won't be easy to fill. Rodgers will know that. Hence the early moves, hence the urgency. This isn't just about replacing bodies. It's about building a group with the right mentality. Players who want to win every match, whether it's away to St. Mirren or under the lights on a Champions League Tuesday. That's the mindset Rodgers is cultivating. Relentless, focused, hungry. The fans can sense it too. You look at social media, you listen to the chatter. People are excited again. Not just about the title defense, but about what Celtic could become this season. There's a belief brewing that this team might not just be stronger, but smarter, sharper, more adaptable. And that's a testament to what Rodgers is building. And if preseason goes to plan, with a couple more signings through the door and the squad clicking into gear, you could be looking at a Celtic side ready to make a real statement. Not just in Scotland, but further afield. That friendly with Newcastle will give us the first proper look at how things are shaping up. Sure, it's just a preseason game, but the energy around it feels bigger. It's not just about fitness. It's about momentum. Rodgers knows that, so do the players. So here we are on the cusp of another campaign. New faces, old legends moving on, and a manager with a point to prove. Celtic might be back in training, but make no mistake, they're already plotting their next conquest. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. There's a fresh whisper blowing through the east end of Glasgow, and it carries the name Harley Mills, a rising star from the English Championship. The young right-back is said to be on the verge of signing for Celtic, sparking all sorts of chatter among Hoops fans. Nothing's been confirmed just yet, mind. But the rumor mill is working overtime. Word is, Mills has impressed scouts with his pace, composure on the ball, and that rare blend of aggression and tactical awareness. Not to mention a wicked delivery from wide areas. Some are already calling him the next big thing south of the border. And now it seems Celtic might have beaten a host of clubs to the punch in securing his signature. It wouldn't be the first time the Parkhead club unearthed a diamond in the rough. What really has tongues wagging, though, is the prospect of Mills linking up with Kieran Tierney. A potential return for the former Celtic favorite has long been teased, but now, with Mills reportedly keen on the move to Glasgow precisely because of the chance to play alongside Tierney, speculation has kicked into overdrive. Imagine that, a flying fullback duo with Tierney bombing down the left and Mills tearing up the right, for Celtic fans dreaming of a European run. That's a tantalizing thought. Of course, it's all still whispers at this stage. Mills' camp is keeping things tight-lipped, and Celtic haven't made anything official. But insiders close to the deal suggest it's more than just smoke. There might just be fire behind this one, with preseason just around the corner, and Brendan Rodgers known to be keen on reinforcing the flanks. Don't be surprised if Harley Mills is unveiled in the green and white sooner rather than later. For now, it remains a burble in the background. But in Glasgow, those burbles have a habit of turning into full-blown roars. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.